Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Okay, so let's talk about the US stock market. Here you're looking at a spreadsheet that I've got of all the all the stocks available out there in the US markets, from ranging from the pink sheets to New York to NASDAQ and a whole pile of other ones. So what we got going on here is they can be segregated into different categories: beverages, soft drinks, semi equipment, materials, asset management, so on and so forth. And they also have an associated code with them. Out of that, you'll notice that some of these stocks are not classified. Usually those are smaller companies that are not properly uh, classified for whatever reason. But at the end of the day, what we're after is the companies that are classified for whatever reason. And what I've done is I've filtered out those into more basically by category. And again, you can segregate these out um, by some kind of category, and I've ordered them alphabetically. So specialty chemicals, oil and gas, so on and so forth. Out of that, I am now able to, with the magic of XLQ and IQ feed, be able to generate another file of the entire market. So let me just show you something here. Here, when I filter out only those that do have a category, a market sector, you'll notice it's only about 4,800. So those are out of 11,000. Okay. Once we get those classified, what I've done is I've using again XLQ and the IT feed, I'm able to filter out a couple of things. Here we have the categories we talked about. That's the category or the category number. Here, this row would represent the beta of that stock over a certain amount of time, measured against a benchmark like the S&P 500. The higher it is, the better performing it is. And then here we also have the EPS. Now the EPS is important because that will tell you basically guidance on how a company feels. Now there's usually a monthly, quarterly, and then an annual EPS as well that is captured through Yahoo, but for whatever reason it's not captured through Interactive Brokers. So in the meantime, what I'm doing here is I'm just using the current IQ feed EPS. Now I could figure out a way to get the Yahoo quarterly, monthly, and yearly. The problem is when you use free sources like Yahoo Finance, they're going to cut you off. And when you're dealing with, in this case, as I said, 44,000, at some point that's going to get cut off. So in here, and this is also supposed to be market cap, so I'm still kind of working on that. But I think between these two, beta and the EPS is good enough because that's forward looking and that's past performance and current. So that's good enough to do a comparison between various stocks in these sectors. So let me just see what we pull up here on the category, which is column C. So what you'll find here is a lot of them don't have beta or EPS. That's usually a good sign that the company doesn't feel too, if they're not going to issue guidance, that's not usually a good sign to go with, because that means they don't feel confident about their guidance. The ones that do list their EPS and guidance, you're pretty safe to say that they have some confidence in their guidance. That's why they're giving it. Companies that have bad performance usually will no longer um, give guidance. So those are a really important metric that you could use as picking out your long and shorts. Now this is somewhat still limiting, but that's the logic on why you using EPS as well as comparing it against the current beta. So as you can imagine here, we have some stocks here that are part of, let's say, the semiconductor, and out of this, with these stocks here in their beta, we can usually be able to gauge a definite short and long, and that's what we're going to do. And from there, once they build up that file of a short and long of each category, what I'm going to plan to do is add them to a watch list and have another series of indicators that will indicate if they're worthy to trade, and watch it. Those pairs of long and short that are picked, and see if they're worthy to trade. And if they are, they'll automatically get executed on, or positions will be put on for both the long and short. So that's where the arbitrage comes into play. So I just want to show you this from my perspective. As I said, this data here, the beta and the EPS is coming in from IQFeed. So obviously I can't redistribute this data. So unfortunately I will not be able to share this particular file, but I'll still be able to use the ones that become a long and a short, and be able to determine it. Just as a warning, as I said, this data is it's okay. The Yahoo data is better, but the only reason, as I said, I'm using this data from IQFeed because I can, make 4,000 requests and it takes about 10 minutes to run, maybe 5. And I could do that all day, all night without getting cut off because I'm using a commercial source. Obviously, as I said earlier, you can't use that with Yahoo. So an important thing to know about, and this is how tentatively I will pick long and shorts, and these are I don't know how often these will be run, maybe daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, but I'll figure it out as I progress. And that's what I want to show you. Talk to you later.